leaders of all types in our world, if they say, I'm a leader, I'm a social leader, I'm a political leader, I'm a spiritual leader, I'm an educational leader, I'm a scientific leader. And if I'm a leader, that means I've got followers. And that's the way leadership works. That brings with it a certain degree of utility and service to the world, and it also generates, again, an immediate and vast obscuration that limits the quality of leadership in our world and brings it down to the egoic and ego-identified level, rather than raising it to alignment with spirit and raising all of humanity into that same alignment. So the Western lifestyle is a mindset. It is such an unconscious process. It is based on so many assumptions that we can always have more, that we can have more technology, more power, more entertainment, more food, more varieties of food, more medicine, more health, more years, more life, and that's supposedly a good thing. That voracious consumption of our planet, so that we can have more of what we want, is supposedly a good thing. It's even written into the Constitution: life, love, and pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say as long as there are resources. It doesn't say as long as we don't eat up or burn up the whole world. Are we making sense? That a few hundred years ago, that approach made sense because we didn't have adaptive technology that would allow us to scarf up the whole world or damage it. We didn't know any better because we didn't have that bigger understanding. We didn't have an internet. So is the inertia and path and trajectory of our nation's mindset based in a foundational delusion of seeming infinite abundance on this planet? How many people have been taught to seek abundance and imagine in some wishful thinking process, the book The Secret being an example of that there should be infinite abundance. Everybody can be billionaires on the planet, and everybody can have everything they want. And all you have to do is wish for it and envision it, and then you'll make it so, no matter how many species it kills, and no matter how much it damages the planet, and no matter how much faster we get to 2 degrees centigrade of global warming. Do you see the mismatch between those mindsets and reality? How do we reconcile? How many of the people who, and this is not a criticism of the people who were in that book and in that movie, how many people who were professing those visionary capacities, how many of them believed what they were saying to be true? If we give them all the benefit of the doubt and say, well, it wasn't just a way to get people to buy a book or watch a movie and make them a lot of money, these folks actually believed or assumed that reality is so amorphous and so endless and infinite that we could all have everything we want all the time forever, and all we need to do is envision it and wish for it. How could some people who were supposedly so spiritually astute operate in such a way? So there's a country, we'll say there are various country situations in terms of carbon production. People in America produce hundreds of, just enormous numbers of tons of carbon per year, individually and collectively. There are nations that barely produce any carbon, and they're basically agrarian nations without technology, without artificial energy production, such as like electricity and fossil fuels and things like that. And then there are some very, very few countries that are almost on the line, meaning they are give or take close to carbon neutral, and they have technology. And those are incredibly rare. Uruguay raises a lot of cattle. That's one of their main food sources, and they have for a long, long time. And they didn't have enough energy production. They were creating a lot of carbon. They wanted to go to solar and wind, and they did, mostly solar and wind power, and they bore the costs. And their lifestyle is incredibly simple, meaning houses that where you've got the whole family living in 700 square feet, including grandparents. So if we were to tell that to Americans and say, we can shift from fossil fuels to wind and solar, and we can cut our carbon footprint enough to go to net carbon zero in the time available. And all that's required is that everyone downgrade their lifestyle and cease driving cars, shifting to more love, kindness, and care and quality relationship than entertainment or power or status or financial abundance, shifting to love abundance, care abundance, compassion abundance, service abundance. So that is a big ask. Now, we're recording this in this meeting on purpose for a lot of different reasons. We've got how many billionaires are there in this world today? Like more than a dozen? There may be thousands. Some of them have agreed in at least in word, if not in deed, to pledge half of their money, half of their wealth to service endeavors of one sort or another in the world. And as far as we know, only two of them have actually done it. One of them, if we understand correctly, is Warren Buffett, and he actually did them to set an example. He's got a whole bunch of other people that have pledged to do that, and nobody's really crossed the line with him. Now, we've got 7 years as a species, the whole planet, to change the trajectory of the whole human species, every organization, every nation, every people. We've got 7 years, and these folks are sitting on their hands when they could help. That's not a criticism. That's a question. Why? What in humanity would cause anyone to want to hold on to that while the world burns? Warren Buffett has very courageously stepped forward and committed his wealth, a big portion of his wealth, in our understanding, to the Gates Foundation. And that's so fantastic. And paradoxically, the people who are striving to accumulate and have such an inertia and focus on accumulation rather than on circulation of what they accumulate in the world. They're so focused on the continuity of accumulation that they're not caring that more than 5 million people are dying each year due to the climate crisis already. In World War II, 50 million people died. And that was seen as a world war, a terrible thing, beyond terrible. 6 million Jewish people died. Almost the equal number of how many Jewish people died in concentration camps are dying every year from climate change. And we're sitting back and ignoring it. Every 10 years, if we only kept going at 5 million per year, 50 million people would be dead if we don't do anything about it. And that's the total number that died in World War II. Is there a disconnect here? They may not know how to truly live or truly love or truly care or truly connect or truly serve. And because they're busy doing something else. They're busy in part looking at the world through these lenses of mindsets. So the billionaire mindset is a mindset. They're focused on something other than the totality of what is. And they might rather continue to do so.